We are back with another monthly wrap-up of some of the weird, bizarre, and even scary news to come out of Japan over the last month. So what happened over the last month or so? Let's take a look. Number 1. Again, let's start this month with some light and perhaps even whimsical news. This October, the Asanami police in Hiroshima teamed up with the Umebayashi Yotsuba Kindergarten to produce a video. Sounds like a weird collaboration, right? Well, it gets weirder, because the video they worked together on was to warn people about social media fraud. Not sure that's something 3-year-olds need to worry too much about, but hey, let's work with it. The video became an instant hit because, well, you can check the link in the description to see for yourself. Featuring 5 police officers dancing to the dulcet tones of some kindergarten kids, singing about the dangers of being seduced over social media. The dance moves are a sight to behold. And at times they even switch to some, well, deep-fried meme lighting. Thank you, Hiroshima, for delivering us such a banger. Number 2. I'm not one to judge what people eat or even what they do to get it in this day and age, but this next story is certainly an interesting one. On October 2nd, Tennoji Zoo in Osaka revealed that a 47-year-old zookeeper had been arrested. Why? Well, he had been stealing their chimpanzees' food. Yeah, you heard that right. Throughout September, the zoo noticed that their chimpanzee food was dwindling rather fast, and it wasn't because the chimps were storing fat for winter. They started an internal investigation and, instead, discovered that one of their own employees was the one sneaking the food out. Thankfully, it seems it was just regular fruit and vegetables. But still, the man was stealing food from animals. Not really cool. As of yet, no reason has been given as the case is still under investigation, but it's safe to say he probably just saw free food and decided that the chimps wouldn't miss any. For shame. Number 3. Once again, it's that time of year for one of Tokyo's best attractions. The Tokyo Urban Myth Haunted Taxi Tour. This is no ordinary taxi ride, and for a cool 33,000 yen, you and a friend can get picked up at Tokyo Station in a luxury ride that will, as the name suggests, take you on an hour-long haunted tour around Tokyo. The taxi will drive you to several locations around Tokyo, all the home of various legends such as the old woman who chases after you with scissors, or a bridge that compels you to bite off your own tongue. While you're driven around, you can also have an almost theatrical experience inside the car, with video and surround sound to really set the mood. And at each location, you're allowed to get out and explore on your own. This event runs until November 17th, so if you're in the area, don't miss out. Number 4. I personally found this next piece of news to be fascinating and, as an Australian, we do not claim this man. On October 18th, the judgment came down for an Australian man on trial for robbery. It was reported that in June of last year, the man, an English conversation school teacher, entered a home in Shinjuku Ward, Tokyo, through the second-floor veranda around 11:30 p.m. Naturally, this shocked the resident who was just chilling in his apartment at the time to suddenly see this foreigner climb in through his veranda. The Australian then reportedly screamed, "Goto da!" or "This is a robbery." He grabbed a small shovel that was nearby and then attacked the man with it. He ended up fleeing without taking anything, but was arrested in September of the same year. At court, however, the Australian claimed that he didn't actually say "Goto da," "This is a robbery," but rather, he was telling the man in English to go to the door. Yes, he tried to play the Gaijin smash card and claimed the Japanese man simply misunderstood his English. So then, why did he enter through the second-floor veranda near midnight? Well, he just also happens to like parkour, and as he was passing by the apartment, he claimed to smell gas. He was trying to save the poor man, you see? Of course, that doesn't explain why he attacked the man with his own shovel, and In the end, the court disagreed with his, let's be real, very flimsy attempts at excusing a terribly executed robbery attempt. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Number 5. Hold on to your noses. This one's a little gross. On October 4th, the Banzai Napolitan restaurant in Tsukuba City, Ibaraki Prefecture, reported a rather unfortunate incident that caused them to close down. The restaurant, which, as their name suggests, specializes in the delicious Japanese tomato ketchup pasta dish, had a customer come in with a stench so bad that they literally had to close the store so they could get rid of it. Yikes. A customer has come to the store with an unprecedentedly strong smell, so we will begin regular business again in 40 minutes. I'm not sure how bad you have to smell that an entire restaurant needs to close down for an hour or so to get rid of it, but the comments section was full of people speculating on who could smell so bad and sharing their own experiences with horrifically smelly people. But hey, at least they got some free advertising out of the stinky experience. Number 6. You may remember a story a while back of a man in Taiwan who helped stop a knife attack on a train because it was what Himmel, of Frieden fame, would have done. Well, once again, this month we can thank anime for stopping yet another crime. On September 16th, a 23-year-old woman went to a convenience store in Yokohama City, Kanagawa Prefecture, shortly before 8 p.m, and noticed that a customer was fighting with a staff member. It seemed the customer was trying to leave without paying for his beer. The woman tripped the customer as he tried to flee, and then held him tight in a headlock while the staff called police. The man bit her arm so hard that she still had bruising several weeks later, but she kept him there until police arrived. Police ended up sending the woman a letter of appreciation for her efforts, while also warning people to be extremely careful because he may have had a weapon. As for her ability to keep the man subdued until police arrived, the woman claimed that she simply imitated what she had seen in anime before. Well done. Number 7. As someone who is constantly pestered by outside noises, especially birds, when I'm trying to work and record, I certainly feel for the people in this next piece. Last month, residents in Kusatsu City, Shiga Prefecture, reported an extremely noisy problem. Flocks of white-cheeked starlings that are so loud it sounds like Jurassic Park outside. Ouch. Recordings were made of these flocks of birds and the residents weren't lying. They reached around 80 decibels, meaning the birds were as loud as a noisy game center, and they just kept going and going and going, leaving nearby residents stressed as they couldn't escape the noise. It's also illegal under the bird protection law to actually do anything about them, other than try to make them move on. It turns out these starlings especially love Zelkova trees, which in this area were planted after the war. Now they're quite large, and the perfect habitat for these Zelkova-loving noise machines. The city tried pruning the trees, but that just made them move nearby. Other cities have also suffered from hordes of these little chatterers, and Hannan City in Osaka discovered, after a decade of being terrorized by tiny noisy birds, that there's a certain LED light that they don't like. These lights manage to get rid of them, but they fear the moment they stop using them, the little ones will return, so they must remain vigilant. It's a rising problem across many cities of Japan, but here's hoping the lights will keep the tiny terrors at bay. Number 8. In some more light-hearted news, last month it was revealed a 6th grade boy from Kitagata town in Gifu Prefecture came up with some interesting research that he carried out in July last year. You see, there was a pedestrian crossing without traffic lights in their town, and the boy was annoyed at how long he had to wait before any cars would stop to let him cross. So, he decided to turn that into his summer research and collect data on it. How many cars would he have to wait? And which types of people were the most likely to actually stop and let school children cross the street? This research was conducted over 12 days, once every half an hour from 7:30 in the morning until 7 or so that night. He discovered that the more cars there were, the less likely they were to stop. And in general, there was an average of 5.2 cars passing before one finally stopped for him. As for the people most likely to stop, they claimed that kind-looking old men, truck drivers, and tough-looking guys were the most likely to stop. And those most likely to ignore the children and drive through the crossing? Sports-type cars and elderly women. Ouch. Number 9. This month, a second trial was held for 3 men who were involved in a phone scam robbery in 2019 that left an elderly woman dead after they robbed and attacked her in her own apartment. The initial trial also made the news because one of the men screamed, "Yosha!" when his sentence of life imprisonment came down, something that many people found incredibly disrespectful and heartless, like he was treating the woman's death as a joke. It would be similar to someone screaming "woohoo" or "hell yeah" in English. At any rate, both sides appealed after that initial verdict. But once again, the 3 defendants received sentences of life in prison. After all, they had clearly shown no remorse, and they were involved in numerous other crimes around the same time as well. This time around, however, the men were a little less jubilant, and the man who cried "Yosha" the first time around reportedly looked rather upset with his ruling this time. Perhaps the reality of spending the rest of his life behind bars for causing another person's death is finally starting to settle in. Number 10. Finally this month, a 58-year-old senior member of the Kodokai was arrested on October 10th by police in Gifu, but not for the reason you might expect. No, it wasn't for assault or robbery or anything like that, but rather medical insurance fraud for cutting off his own finger. Ouch. The arrest is the first of its kind in Japan, and according to reports, the man visited a hospital in Tokyo and told them he had an accident that resulted in his finger being severed. They fixed him up, and his national health insurance policy covered the costs of around 40,000 yen. But this is where the problem comes in. Health insurance doesn't cover self-inflicted injuries, and the man didn't lose his finger in an accident, but rather he cut it off himself to atone for an offence, as is Yakuza tradition. He committed fraud, and thus the police were able to arrest him. So remember, the next time you cut your own finger off, you have to foot the medical bill for it yourself as well. And that's just some of the weird, bizarre, terrifying, and also kind of funny news that came out of Japan last month. But what about you guys? Hear of anything odd or terrifying? Weird or funny? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.